I'm Bob Hallmark in Longview today. I'm at Pinecrest Country Club for a wedding, but not just any wedding. They say that love conquers all. Sometimes it even conquers time. And that's what we're talking about today, is a wedding that is taking place that didn't take place over 60 years ago. And joining me right now is the beautiful bride. This is Gail Bergamini.
Hi.
And now, Gail, I guess we're going to talk about this. You're getting married today.
Yes.
To a familiar face, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Let's explain. You were living in California.
Right.
And
We were in high school together. I was a majorette. He played trombone. He began calling me at night. He was 14. I was 15. And, you didn't date people below you, Anyway, he'd start walking me to school. And finally, he didn't have a car, of course. And we started dating. And we went steady on and off all through high school. I graduated and went to work. He stayed in school that his senior year. I went to his senior prom with him. We got back together again because he had met someone else, and we got back together, and we got engaged. And I had a ring, and he joined the Navy and got stationed on Midway. Meanwhile, I met my future husband, Al, and we were married for 54 and a half years. But
okay, now a lot of people are going to have a question here. They're going to
Right.
say, okay, so you were engaged to be married.
right,
And the gentleman's name we're talking about here is Bob Motz. And we're going to talk to Bob in just a little bit. But what happened was he gets stationed in Midway.
right,
And for some reason or another, you decide the engagement is off.
right. And I sent back his ring to Midway.
And the rest, as they say, is history. You get married, you have a long marriage. Now we come to today. Bob is here today. You and Bob, after over 60 years, are going to get married.
Right.
What happened here?
Well, I lost my husband 5.5 years ago, and I had posted on Facebook that I was a widow. And Bob lives in a senior retirement community, a country club place. And one of his neighbors was on Facebook, and she and I went to school together. So she said, "Bob, did you know Gail's a widow?" And he said, "No, I did not." And anyway, it put the seed in his mind. And his golfing people said, "Well, why don't you call her?" "Well, I don't have her phone number." They found it. He started calling me.
All right, and now we're talking with the groom. This is Bob Motz. And Bob, the big day for you today.
It is a big day for me after all these years,
Let's
When
talk a
is-
little bit about this. You go back in time. You joined the Navy. You and Gail were sweethearts, and you had proposed to her.
Yes, yes.
And you got stationed at Midway. One thing leads to another, and
Yeah, Bob got this ring back, and it was a surprise to me at that time, and I couldn't do much about it because, Midway is a long ways off there. International Dateline is where it's at, and so I didn't have much choice.
yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you could just jump a flight and come right back. I mean, you just couldn't do that.
No, you didn't do that.
And that was the important thing here, is that essentially you guys, and this has been over 60 years ago?
Yes,
Yeah.
1963 to 64, when Kennedy was assassinated. That's how long ago it was.
And you were in the Navy, and now one thing leads to another. Gail gets married to someone else. You got married to someone else, and had long.
When I got out of the service, I married somebody else. Yes, and we both had pretty nice lives. I to tell you the truth, but
Okay. But uh, first of all, did you ever think that you would ever see Gail again?
No, no, I didn't know where she was. I had no idea until Facebook came around, and she had lost her husband. And she lost her husband. I had lost my wife 5 years before. Well, it was in 2018, and then her husband died about 6 months later after that. And luckily, this lady found that where I live is in a retired community, and she saw that her husband had passed, and we went to school together, all of us, okay? And she went to, she says, you know, Gail's husband passed away. And really, I said, well, I don't know where she's at, and I don't have her phone number or anything. And I play golf with a lady, and this lady says, oh, I'll get her phone number for you. Yeah, she did. She got her phone number, so that started the whole ball of wax.
Okay. Subsequently, you reconnect with Gail, and she comes out to California to see you. I want you to describe that moment because she told me the story earlier. I want you to describe that moment when she gets off the plane and comes through that terminal. Something happened.
Well, there was this member of the family that says, you're not engaged because you haven't proposed to her. So I'm at the airport when she comes in, and she came down, and I was looking for the escalator for her to come down the escalator. Well, she came down through with a wheelchair thing, pushed her down, and she gets down there, and I could just see her head above this little wall, you know. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and a smile came out of her like crazy. Anyway, she came over, I got her, and I set her down in the chair there at the airport. And I said, the first thing I did was propose to her. So I said, we're officially engaged, okay? So anyway, that was an exciting thing.
I guess it was a special moment.
She had the biggest smile on her face on the other side of that wall. And I got her on this side of the wall, and yeah, it was really neat.
A lot of people are going to see this, Bob, and they're going to go, over 60 years, wow. I mean, you know, is it that deeply entrenched in you? Was it like you traveled back in time and remembered how much you really cared for her?
You know, yes, but I miss the best parts of her life, you know, but we're going to pick it up from there, and we're going to continue on, because who knows how long you're going to live, and so this is exciting for both of us.
Excited about today?
Yes, well, I told her, I said, we didn't have to get married, you know, that type of thing. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. So anyway, we're getting married, and that's great. That's
all right.
Great. So.
And obviously, I hope you have many, many happy years ahead of you.
Well, I do too. I think we're going to be very happy together.
All right.
I'm making her move to my end of the world, though, which is kind of different, and I'm glad she's accepted that. And so we're going to move into a community where we can do things together, and go to shows, go to do events there, and I'm hoping she finds a lot of friends there that she can find. She already knows more about where I live than I do. So that's the beautiful part about it.
Okay, well, great, wonderful. Well, in less than an hour, it's going to be Mr. and Mrs. Motz. So congratulations, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that.
All right. One thing leads to another.
That's right.
I understand that you actually flew out to California to see them. Now tell me what happened when you get off the plane.
When I got off the plane, immediately he said, sit down, sit down. I said, why? I just got off the plane. He said, sit down, and he proposed right there in the airport. Right there.
Now, I'm sure it took you a little bit by surprise, but your reaction at the time?
Well, I mean, I was astonished and astounded and extremely happy. Extremely happy.
Did all of those feelings come back from your youth when you saw him?
I feel like I'm 17 again. I really do.
Was there any hesitation when he popped the question to you?
No, not at all. The hesitation is moving to California and I've packed up my house and I'm going to go.
Okay. In just a few minutes here, right at 2 o'clock, Bob and Gail will actually have their ceremony and become Mr. and Mrs. Motts. You said that you're going to move to California with him.
Right.
What has this all been like for you? I mean, to go through this process, it's almost like reliving part of your life.
Well, in a way, it's scary. Yes, I admit that. But I also feel that Heavenly Father has brought us together for a reason, and I don't know what that is. I just feel that way.
But obviously, this is a very happy day for you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Do you love him as much now as you did then?
That's a hard thing to say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's going to grow, you know. We don't know how long we'll have together. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 5 years. I don't know.
Okay.
Now, he did say something that really made me, he said, we started off together and we're going to end it together. And that clinched it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, congratulations
Oh,
today,
thank
Gail.
you.
And many, many happy years for you in the future.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Okay. All right. And we'll have more on this story tonight on KLTV 7 News for KLTV WebXtra. I'm Bob Hallmark.